Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it facts straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, your nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas. In the building, Jimmy, it's a great, great weekend. A lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff to get to. God, it's just so much stuff happened this weekend. I tipped my hand. Let me tell you something. I tipped my hat. I don't have a hat on, but I tipped my hat to all evaluators for being in those gyms and all the basketball guys, even the guys. Jimmy, I mean, there's some guys just, I call basketball guys, I don't even know if they're getting paid for it, but they be in there critiquing and tweeting about everything. I shout out to them because, Jimmy, I sit through so many basketball. Jimmy, I was basketballed out this weekend. I take my hat off to guys like you, Marcus Sloan, and just all the Big Doug, and all of y'all sit through those things, man. Parents, I know you just go to your kids' games, but these guys go and sit through almost every game of importance. I mean, I remember one day Jimmy called me and said, man, I got to go to this game. I said, why this game? He said, because I might not get a chance to see him later on in the season. So let me go put my eyes on both of them. And, man, I shout out to, man, I really do. And I'll let Jimmy talk about that. But, Jimmy, I want to get, I know it's not Women Rock Wednesday, but these two young women has accomplished something so great. We're going to talk about them Wednesday, but I just want y'all to get prepared. We got two young women. One is Ariel Hudson. She becomes the first female African-American awarded the Rhodes Scholarship at Ole Miss University. Okay? The first female. And then I turn around and research a little more. I got to talk. I can't pronounce a name that good as what. Wakiju, Jimmy, but they call her Wawa Gathura. She was named UConn's first Rhodes Scholar and also the Truman Scholar. And I'll explain that y'all a little bit about those two guys, but I didn't want to start the day. The Rhodes Scholarship is one of the most prestigious academic and You got to do community work. I mean, look it up, the Rhodes Scholarship, and also look up the Truman Scholarship, because that's a powerful scholarship that's awarded to just American scholars. The Rhodes Scholarships are awarded to people all over the world. So that's it, Jimmy. Got a lot of stuff in the NFL. I want to worry about our picks. Want to talk about the Rockets. So what's up, man? You got this stage. What's going on?
Well, I mean, we got first, speaking of high school basketball, you have a reverb reading that real quick, but
okay.
Back in there. But the Texas Invitational this past weekend was it was awesome. Awesome meaning that for one of the very few times, actually for the first time, right, in the history of the event, that both championships featured a Houston area team, two Houston area teams, boys and girls, since the inclusion of the girls into this tournament. So that was great because it helped the gate. And sure enough, the theory proved true because it was a good crowd for the championship. Atascocita played Summer Creek in the championship game. Atascocita, their leading scorer, their go-to guy, Dylan Dawson, he signed with Texas State. He only played a fraction of the game, maybe a portion of a quarter. He had aggravated had a leg injury the night before, and he couldn't go. He tried, couldn't go. So they sit him out. And those 11th graders for the Atascocita, they went to work on Summer Creek, found themselves down double digit. And I mean, it was a great showing. Caleb Stewart is one of the young men. He's from Atascocita. He's an 11th grader. Christian Ashby, another one of the guys. I mean, it's just, hey, I'm really impressed with the Atascocita.
It was a team
Summer Creek, I'm impressed with them likewise. That was a winnable game, and these teams are district rivals. They will face each other at least 2 more times this season. I think January the 3rd is the first district matchup. Trust me, they didn't need any motivation or incentive to go after each other, but now they do. This Atascocita team going into the season in the magazine, I think we had them preseason number 7. They opened the year with the home court loss to Westfield. So think about it. That number 7, I even got a couple of emails, 1 or 2 text messages. The first game of the season, Atascocita get hit upside the head at home. And all the people were emailing and texting me, hey, what happened to your number 7? See, tell you how this thing goes. That's why you have to have skin thick enough to take it. After Atascocita ran the table, they won 5 straight games over the weekend. Why them same people ain't email me or text me? And
ain't nothing to email you about now.
You see how this thing goes?
Yeah,
so
I like
that's
that.
What I got to do. I got to go and email them and text them and remind them, hey, see that number 7 did? I mean, That's how it goes. That's the great thing about it. Another thing, don't let the win-loss records fool you guys about a lot of these teams. What I'm seeing a lot of nowadays is we look at the NBA level. Kids emulate what they idolize and understand health and safety is very important. But if we can't, think about it, we can't apply, well, are we applying a double standard? Are you guilty of applying a double standard? Here's what I mean. When you look at I understand the pros are getting paid, that's their job. But then you tell these kids in their workouts, basketball is life. I seen the t-shirts. Basketball is a way of life. Basketball is your full-time job. Basketball, you just gotta live it. You gotta love it. So when one of these kids see a professional, somebody who they idolize, sit out a game from what is now known as load management, and to understand the reasoning behind it is to prevent It's preventive maintenance because they don't want to aggravate an injury or put too much strain by playing too many games in a row or too many quarters in a small amount of time. Well, now we see high school players. They're not calling it load management. They just tell us flat out, John Doe ain't playing. But then you say, what's the reason? Well, he played a lot, man. There's a lot of games. He got that injury, sir. He got last week or last month or had surgery. So now, is that a difference? Is all high school players engaging in load management? That's what I want to know. That's the question.
Jim, I looked at, you know what I looked at, and I'm so glad that I got a up close and personal look at this tournament, different from when my son used to play. This year, I had certain players I wanted to watch, Jimmy, I think this is the first time in a long time that I've showed up for a 9 o'clock in the morning game and a 10 o'clock in the morning game. I mean, I don't remember. I know it's a long time because my son played years ago. But those are two of the most important games, those first two games. And I remember you kind of mentioned it. You talking about it's a five game grind. But those 9 o'clock, because I went and watched the 9 o'clock game and I watched the 10 o'clock game. And I saw both teams were sluggish. It's just, at least in a basketball game, I found out one team got to win and one team got to lose. It ain't going to be no tie like it's a basketball. Both of them can be just as sluggish, but one of them got to win and one of them that got, and then the next game. And so I watched a lot of that this weekend, and it's a survival of the fittest. And Doug just put something up there that's real, I didn't even know. He said, mind you, Atascocita won with Junior scoring all the points.
Yes.
In the championship games. So it just, man, it's the survival. But Jimmy, I got a question. People winning in this particular tournament, what does that say about the rest of the season? Is it fool's gold? The champion of this tournament are the people who did get good in this tournament. Because you look at the history of the tournament. I really don't keep up with it that much. But what is the success of the person who wins this tournament? I do well in this tournament. Do they go on and have success later on in the season?
Well, this tournament, once again, the Texas Invitational is the largest tournament in the United States. I mean, in the state of Texas. Okay. Because it's 48 boys, 32 girls. And so if you go and you start measuring what does the team that win this tournament does. Put it like this. Last year, because in 2018 season, Duncanville girls won this tournament, right? Summer Creek girls came in second. Both of those teams met in the state tournament in San Antonio.
Okay. What about the men?
Allen won this tournament.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. Allen won this tournament. Right? Mm-hmm. Then Allen, when did Allen win? Didn't they win state either last year or year before last? One of the two. Right? So the year before that, Katie Tompkins won this tournament. Right? Guess what Katie Tompkins did? They went to state. Right?
Okay.
Duncanville girls won this tournament the same year. Guess they did. They went to state. Right? Right? Now, the year before that, right? Well, Mr. Duncanville girls won the year before that. They went to state. And on the boys' side, that was a dry year. Westfield High School won the boys. They did not go to state that year. But however, the year before that, Atascocita won this tournament with Carson Edwards and crew. Guess what they did? They went to the state tournament. So this is about as good as it gets for a measuring stick, but not for all teams. Let me explain to you why. Let's say Dickinson High School, for example. Dickinson High School has 3 key players, right? One of them is a starter for sure. That on the football field. So Dickinson High School come into this thing already limping, as did Atascocita, who has 3 on the football field. And all 3 of them are 6'3" and taller for Atascocita. So you think they're good right now. It's like old Bobby Womack. If you think they're good right now, just wait until tonight. I'm ad-libbing some words, remix. But think about it. So some teams have players that were out. You have to factor that in. Remember, DeSoto would come here and win this tournament a lot on the boys' side to get to the championship. They would often have a player or two on the football field. You have to factor that in. Okay. You can't act like it don't exist. But for those teams who are at full throttle right now, you can measure them because now it's the sprint for them. And if you're not, and because you need depth to win this type of a tournament. 5 games, 3 days. You need depth. This is a summer basketball type schedule.
Yes. Yes.
So as for kids playing at 9 o'clock in the morning, Alan, it ain't like these kids used to it. They play at 8 o'clock in the morning in the summer ball. 8:30 game.
But summer's over, baby. It's a long way from the summer.
So they should be very, especially the upperclassmen, should be very well.
No. I'm just to say, I saw the actual games. Both teams were sluggish. Both teams were sluggish, like they were still asleep. You got to understand, basketball players are routine guys. These guys been used to being in class that time of morning for the last a certain amount of months. I mean, there's no excuse. I'm just telling you how sluggish those first. See, you didn't get up and go watch them 9 and 10 o'clock games. I got up and went and watched it. They were just slug on both sides. And like I said, one side had to win. It's not like baseball team. It's not like you can't have no time. Both sides. It was the war of attrition early in the morning. That's all I'm saying. That's what I saw.
First to understand, on Thursday I was front center for a 10 o'clock game, and that was at Pasadena High School, Hightower versus Sam Houston. Now, secondly, it's whether or not these kids nowadays, that's why it's often so great that this is how the thing go. The grown up will find some type of hate, get the hate, use it for the kid as motivation. So there's not many of these kids in today's society are self-motivated. They're not. So I understand that. And you guys understand that. So here's what happens when you got a 9 o'clock in the morning game. If nobody's not able, if the coach who's the jockey that rides the back of the horse, that coach or the coaching staff collectively have to be able. If you notice what you're dealing with, you got some unmotivated kids. You have to be able to motivate them. And that was a thing that happened back in the days. A lot of the high school coaches used to call me and ask me. That it kind of slid away now because the kids are so, it's a different society now with the social media being a problem here. But a few years back, the high school coaches would call me and basically asked me to write something not good about the team. Right? Then that way he would go and print it and put it on the wall. And then the coach would come back after the game. He'd come back and shine a little bit and shine his shoes in front of me a little bit. But he would come back and call me later on and high-five me. Man, thanks so much. Because I'm not able as a coach to motivate these boys over and over like that. I need a little help. Which ain't no problem with that. But nowadays, you guys don't want nobody to give you no fuel. You don't embrace it. You embrace it with angst. You take it like you don't like your kid because somebody's telling exactly what they saw. But then if they tell you exactly what they saw on a good day, if look, Johnny scores 30 and the same guy says, man, look, Johnny was cooking today. Know what they do? Like or retweet. What they do. And that's one of the things that we find. I don't know the solution yet, but there are dozens of.
I'm not looking for a solution. I was just telling you what I saw. I saw just some sleepy. I watched them in warm-ups. See, that's why I get there. I want to watch the warm-ups. I mean, I sit there and said, these kids are still asleep. Do they understand you can get your head tore off at 9 in the morning and change the rest of your tournament? At 10 o'clock in the morning, and I guess you're right. The coaches should be, because should understand that in the future. But I mean, hey, great tournament. The great, a good team won. I mean, and hey, man, I love the Texas Invitation. I mean,
well, yeah, and another thing that happened this past week at that tournament was there were 4 records that were broken.
Yes,
four records.
Yes.
And and that's a good thing because that means now history was made. First and foremost, Tremont Mark from Dickinson High School signed with the University of Houston. He scored 57 points in a win on Saturday. And a win. That's what I like. 57 and a win. And
who won? Who did they play?
Side Creek High School.
Side Creek.
They played Side Creek High School, a ranked team.
Okay.
But Side Creek was without Nate Martin, who signed with Texas State. He didn't play none the weekend. So if you look at Side Creek's losses, they did not play a single game this weekend with Nate Martin in uniform. He's expected to return on Wednesday during the Hoopsgiving Classic when Side Creek will take on Port Arthur Memorial.
Could you help the people that don't know who Nate Martin is, like me? Who is Nate Martin?
Nate Martin is about 6'8". He signed with Texas State. He's a forward that has a really good.
Oh, my big, yeah, he played in the season opener.
Yes.
So he didn't play. Okay, now I know. Okay, I just didn't know his name. Okay.
So this was load management applied for him this weekend.
But sometimes big guys can't handle it, Jimmy. But keep going.
5 games of load management. 5 games.
Okay, keep telling us about the records, because Jimmy.
Oh, the records.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned Tremont Mark set the record for the most points scored in a single game.
Okay. 57.
So Tremont got that. That record was previously held by Alex Hobbs, who's at Boise State right now. He's from LaPorte High School back in 2015. So Alex Hobbs scored 50 points in the game.
Okay.
Tremont Mark just shouted that 57.
Yeah.
W. Right?
Okay.
Now, the second record that was broken was the most points scored in the entire tournament. Remember, every team plays 5 games, the way that this thing is structured. So 5 games. Talking about shattering the record. The previous records was held by T.J. Starks. Used to sign with Texas A&M, young man out of the Dallas area, out of Lancaster High School. Well, Lancaster, as they say up in Dallas, as the correct way to pronounce it. Well, T.J. scored 63 points in a game, 153 in a game. I mean, over the tournament, I'm sorry. Well, guess what? That was a 10th grader that came out this weekend. And this young man scored, let me tell you, 46, 45, 30, 31, and 47.
Right.
In the 5 games. A 10th grader. He finished with 199 points in the 5 games. His name is P.J. Haggerty from Crosby High School. If that name sounds familiar, then guess what? Yes, that's the same young man that was at Ridge Point High School a year ago as a freshman.
Wow.
And people were saying, well, he's shooting up all the balls. He's taking too many shots. Let me tell you something. When you have a talent such as this, then that's when it's a real job for the head coach and the coaching staff alike to be able to make everybody understand, to buy into the come and go. This guy is special. This is the record for the most points scored in these 5 games. Now, mind you, first thing I went to look at and make sure, Crosby High School, how did they do this past weekend? Well, they had a winning record. So I'm really keen on the winning part. They went 3-2. They won more than they lost. So, because as you say, there's a leading score on every bad team. That's why I understand. The Atlanta Hawks don't make the playoffs. Trae Young is going to be one of the top 10 scorers in the NBA. You see what I'm getting at? So this young man came into his first time playing in this type of, with expectations of premium. There are 2 sophomores in Greater Houston that's being highly talked about. Bryce Griggs, P.J. Haggerty. So now PJ Haggard is on his second high school. I'm sorry, his third high school since starting the 9th grade. He's a first semester 10th grader right now. His third high school. That's pressure. And guess what he does? He come out and get W's for the most part, and he got buckets.
You know what, hey, Jimmy? Can I tell you a little bit about? Is unique young man. I first met the kid a long time ago, Jimmy. I went to Austin. TJ had his first, I think that first tournament up in Austin, and I went down there and I was just watching the little kids play. I don't know, sixth graders, some little young kids down there. Little chubby kid, but can shoot the lights out of it. And that was PJ Haggerty. That TJ Ford, Pop Ford, Pop Haggerty, they groomed this kid. I'm telling you, he was a little chubby kid. And I saw him and I said, okay. And then the next thing, I saw him a couple of days ago and just looked at him. How could this be the same kid? But guess what I love about him? The kid approached this game a lot different from everybody. The kid is a straight A student, Jimmy, okay? Mm-hmm. He don't have a crazy presence on social media, Jimmy. He got a business-like approach. He stretches before every game like a pro does. He been groomed by a pro. I mean, he's 15 years old. And I'm just sitting there watching this young man in his evolution, because I cannot believe that's the same little kid that I used to see at that gym in Austin when I first saw him play to the young kid he is now. He's a professional scorer. He can put the ball in the basket. Jimmy, he got a knack to draw fouls, and he's deadly at the free throw line. So great shout out to him. Our sophomore, let me tell you something. We have two special young men as sophomores in this class in Houston, Texas, and if you haven't seen them play, get out to see them play. What else you got, Jim?
I mean that's for certain. Another record too was said also by a young man from Grapevine High School. How about this? You have to really let this saturate. One thing, he broke the record for the most 3-pointers in a game, right? And that was recently held. That record's been standing for 8 years.
The 3-point record?
One kid from out of Sam Rayburn High School knocked down 9 threes in a game. This young man from out of Grapevine High School, his name is Jackson Ryan. Jackson Ryan. Jaxon. He hit 11 threes in one game, right? Then, if that's not enough, you got to let this soak in. To show you this wasn't a one-hit wonder, he came and also broke the record for the most 3-pointers over the entire 5-game tournament. The previous record was held by a kid back in 2015, Kevin last name, Dawson, at Humble High School. Well, this little man, Jackson Ryan, he knocked down 30 3-pointers. Remember, the record was 23. Mm-hmm. 30 divided by 5, that's 6 threes a game. Mm. That ain't soaked in. Do you understand? This dude was averaging 6 3-pointers a game over a 5-game stretch. Now, he's my biggest regret of the tournament is that I did not get to lay eyes on Jackson Ryan from Grapevine High School. That's my biggest regret because I did not know. It was no way to know he had set the tournament record until the tournament was over with. But I knew about the 11 threes that morning, Saturday morning. Mm. So, I'm going to make it my duty. And you guys, if you ever in a gym near Grapevine High School,
where is Grapevine?
You can put eyes on this young man.
Where is Grapevine, Jim? Where is it?
Grapevine up there near Dallas, right?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So those, like I say, it was special, and you try to get special moments from out of when you're watching these events. If you don't embrace history on it, then then what are you there for? This is the thing. And these young guys, the season is still early.
I got a question, Jimmy. I hope ain't that's the kid that you should be hollering shooter. And didn't nobody get over there and close out on him? 11 times.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to figure it. 11 times?
Man, all the time. So that's the thing. And want to, I just want to give a shout out to all the teams that competed. And also, let me tell you, a lot of you coaches, they get a lot of the flack. It's almost like they can't win for losing. Because when a coach makes his schedule kind of like on the side of the cupcake route, we criticize them for ducking, So then when these coaches decide to go and take the opportunity to provide the challenge and go play against some of the best competition they can, somebody got to win, somebody got to lose. And they lose, then guess what? It goes back on the coach. And which is rightfully so. I understand it. Accountability goes, you got to have, as long as you have your team prepared to compete. A lot of times, a lot of fans watch teams that don't look prepared. And that's where the problem becomes. But if a team is competing and the coach has them engaged and everybody's energetic and you just watch the teams after the loss, because you have to, in doing so, you have to teach these young men how to absorb the losses. It's like absorbing contact. Brace yourself, it's going to come. So that may be some parents. Teach your kids how to absorb losses. And I mean that's important because I'm watching kids after the game. You want to shake hands after you win, but you want to run your ass over to the locker room after a loss. I'm watching this. When you come out of the game, you want the guys to slap your thigh. But when when the next guy comes out of the game, you sit on the bench, you ain't slapping thigh. I'm watching all of that. All of that. A coach got to make you be a complete cordial basketball player. You can kick some people's butt and give them a 5. You don't have to sit there and be their friend. It's like the Russell Westbrook theory. That's not during the game, but still, respect and being a good player, people watching you guys at all times.
That's a great point, Jimmy, because after the game, during these times, back a few years ago, this wasn't happening. After the game, you got people trying to interview you, win or loss after the game, right? So you have to prepare your kids to be in a frame of mind that they are practicing on getting practice in case they play in college basketball. They're going to be required to go meet the press after a win or a loss. So, Jimmy, what you saying, Jimmy, what we're trying to do, we just got to groom them. Instead of telling them, we just got to groom them for this kind of stuff. I mean, to whom much is given, much is required. If you're going to be a high school basketball player on a high school, guess what? People see you a lot now. You're invited to these kind of tournaments. You're invited to the Christmas crossover. You're invited to the Hoops Giving Classic. When you're invited to these kind of things, win or loss, people like Jimmy and I, we're watching you when you come out of the game. Because those kind of things that don't show up on the video sometimes. But if we see this, watch that. And Jimmy, that's a great, great analogy. When you come out of that game, you go touch everybody. I saw a coach the other day, Jimmy. Kid came out of the game and just went to sit at the end of the bench. Coach said, oh, no. Just like when you come out of the game and you're happy, you go down the bench and shake everybody's hands, then go to your seat. Don't just run your little butt to your seat and like that. So I saw a lot of that this weekend. I'm glad you brought it up.
Absolutely. And so, it's one of the things, it starts, a lot of things, you don't have to wait till the high school coach
tell you
him to start the correction process. Mm-hmm. At home, you guys can start the correction process. As relatives, you can start the correction process of some of the kids. Guess what? It's not the end of the world. Kids do goofy stuff. They don't understand. But still, the respect factor and being a good teammate is required because odds are the odds are that most of the freshmen next year in college, most of the seniors who signed college scholarships, the odds are most of them are not going to start.
Yes.
They get to college. Now that means they're going to ride the bench for probably the first time in their life. So if you don't know how to beat a teammate from the bench, hell, this is the perfect time to start with guys, because you do it right now while you're big man on campus. You're being a good teammate to guys who look up to you as supposedly their leader. Right. Think about it. When you're a freshman next year, you ain't no lightest leader on that college team.
Right.
You're the rookie. So that's the thing you got to think about. See, it all goes as an ongoing process, but it starts somewhere. And I'm seeing, like little bitty things. You can see the train, you can see the wreck. And a year later, some people say, here's a certain kid where he's not doing it, he wants to transfer. Some people say, man, you know what? I watched that young man play last year. I could tell something was wrong with him. This is where it starts. This is where it starts. And I explained to the bench kids who don't start. I guess maybe it's time for that sermon again. Parents, if your son don't start, at least, this is what I tell people, at least find a way once each quarter to provide energy to your teammates from the bench. Just if you could just do it once every quarter, you know what happened? Positive energy is contagious. So if I'm sitting next to two guys and I go rooting for my guy, if they don't root, it's gonna stick out. I'm gonna stick out like a good thumb, not a sore thumb. So once you root for a guy, then you know what happens then? Sooner or later, that coach gonna look down the bench and he gonna think of who to put in. Guess what? It's probably gonna be that positive energy. I'm seeing, man, guys, it's just so much moping going on the benches. And I mean, for real, it's just so much. If they could stop a game, if they could stop a game and just give a pop quiz in the middle of any game and ask any three kids on the bench at random, what's the score? What's the foul count? How many timeouts you got left? And what defense the other team running? What percentage of the bench kids will get that out of the three will get that right? Will get all four of those right?
Jimmy, can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah.
I have the faintest idea. I mean, I don't think they would. I don't know the percentage, but I don't see them involved in the game as much. You said something. I hate to echo that. It because I haven't heard that name, that phrase in a long time. My mama used to say that, moping. I see that, Coach. I mean, and I mean, Jimmy, and I just don't understand it. And but you remember, I learned a long time ago the most important ride in a kid's life is that ride home in the car after the game. We never know what's going on in that ride home, and we just will never know what happens in that ride home. So that's the only thing. Or we got a society of just selfish kids. I mean, I've seen on some teams, Jimmy, you got kids that know that a person is better than the guy ahead of him. But guess what? They don't care. They don't care about the team, the benefit of the team. It's just a me society, Jimmy. Jimmy, you got to understand, this is a society that you become famous when people click a like button on your thing. You become famous by your likes. They like me. I'm like. And then if they don't like you, you're moping. You follow me? So in this era of situations like that, I mean, somebody just said half the coaches wouldn't even know that answer, Jimmy. Those answers, what you just told, those three answers. So, I mean, hey, as Alan Branch would say, life a bunch of days.
Indeed, it is. And of course, speaking of course of high school ball, got a lot of these teams will be back in action on Wednesday at Houston Christian High School. Houston Christian High School is right near the intersection of the Beltway and the I-10 West. That's the Hoops Giving Classic. Now, on the Hoops Giving Classic, all games will be streamed live via Baller TV. So I want to let you guys know that because this facility doesn't hold, isn't nowhere near the seating capacity of the Campbell Center. So it will be a packed house throughout that day. However, there's no tickets still sold in advance, only general admission when you come up. It's a great atmosphere, I would like to say. We would like to give a thanks to Triple J's Smokehouse. They are giving away, they're giving away turkeys, fully cooked smoked turkeys during the event. So you come out, get a chance to win a turkey, watch some basketball. Tickets are only $10 for the entire day. $10 for the Hoops Giving Classic. And I'll try to make a duty to let people know that in advance because it matters. Everybody has a budget, you know, and some people don't want to get up to the gate and get sticker shocked and, you know, get embarrassed and say, you know, they can't afford. So, you know, $10 to get in, which is based on a lot of the events of these type of magnitude showcase events. That's a pretty good deal. I don't know I think Rick Nelson has an event on the weekend. I'm not sure what he's charging. And Glenn Smith came and joined us last week. It's $30 to go see his. $30. Mm-hmm. So I understand you get what you pay for. We don't have a LeBron James or Dwayne Wade possibly in our stands this weekend. But at the same time, we got some darn good basketball. Check out the VIP news on our website, rcsports.com. rcsports.com. That VIP news has a quick preview of the Hoops Giving Class. Pretty much damn near every team. How you was reading through it this morning. Almost every team that's playing is ranked in the state. A lot of people don't realize that. Mm-hmm. Almost every team that's playing is ranked in the state. And so it's some good matchups. And we had to make these matchups well in advance, and it came right in fruition. One thing we're going to get to see Tremont Mark versus LJ Cry.
Yes, sir.
The top two players in the city. And one thing about it that I applaud both of these young men for is that they endured the turbulence, the constructive criticism, people wondering just how good they were. And they just kept balling. And I tell people all the time, if you keep balling, you keep winning, I promise you will eliminate all excuses, or most of it. And that's exactly what LJ Cry and Tremont Mark have done pretty much as far as their talent level. And as a team now, they have to find a way to go and generate and become the team when people say, uh-oh, you about to play Dickens. Now is you're playing LJ Cry and them. You playing LJ and Big Eddie and them. You playing Tremont and Marcus and them.
Yeah.
You see? What is? Right. But it turns into, they both have time to morph that into, you got to play Martin Ranch. Then say, who they got? Man, LJ Cry. Oh, see what comes first and last? Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen. They go head to head, and I'm projecting the over and under on the combined point total between those two is going to be 75. 75 points between those two combined. That's what I'm projecting for Wednesday. And, of course, the schedule is on rcsports.com. You guys can go there and check it out. Now, how do we shift gears, talk a little NBA talk? NBA talk. This morning, over the weekend, of course, the Rockets took a lump upside the head right? Who the Rockets lose to yesterday?
Dallas. That Luka Doncic.
That's right.
Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic. Let me tell you something, Jimmy. Y'all, hey, we gonna have to go and just give that guy. You remember? It was some. What's his name? Trae Young. Man, he shouldn't have got it over Trae Young. I remember some of that. Man, if it didn't happen in the beginning, but man, this guy is good, man. I'm not really worried about the Rockets. I see what I'm not gonna tell y'all yet. I'm gonna tell y'all next week what's going on with the Rockets. I got a couple of more things going on, but. That dude is just, look, Dallas, I forgot. I saw this, Jimmy. I'll never forget this. Charles Barkley, last year. He said, at 18 years old, he was the MVP. Well, this Charles Barkley, he ain't playing against bad competition, but he didn't say bad. Bad competition. They keep telling Doncic won the MVP at 18. He shouldn't be dominating grown men at 18. I wouldn't take him as the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. Charles Barkley said this. And Jimmy, let me tell you, because you said that about P.J. Haggard a minute ago. Luka Doncic's last 4 games, 41 points, 30 points, 35 points, 42 points. Hold up. 10 assists, 14 assists, 11 assists, 12 assists. Oh, let me go to rebounds. 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 10 rebounds, 11 rebounds. Man, hold on, man. Dude, that man he whooped the 5 of them Rockets yesterday. We don't have nobody. I know y'all be talking about P.J. Tucker. Jimmy Hicks, is it about time? I got a question. I saw this in the news today. Should the Rockets look to sign Jonathan Simmons?
I mean, we talked about this thing. Herb tossed it out immediately when Daniel House had went down the first injury when he had some back problems about 2 weeks ago, and Herb shot it out there. I mean, Jay Sims. And so the thing is, remember now, the Rockets know everything about a player from the Houston area. Jonathan Simmons, we would think on the outside, something is holding him back, the Rockets, from bringing him in. I don't know what it is. You got to realize, let's say it like this, a lot of general managers, they often are in the room together at the winter meetings. A lot of the head coaches, not all together kumbaya, but they all are in the room together. A lot of the owners are in the room together, and a lot of the players are in the room together. 4 different rooms, and for the most part, it's possible they can be separated, but they're not all separate. You get what I'm saying? Well, if you play on a team and one GM may not be favorable of you, and let's say the Rockets GM is an ally of the GM from Orlando or San Antonio or the 70, who did he play with? The Washington or the Sixers? His last team out.
Washington. He got cut by Washington.
Or the Wizards.
Yeah.
So let's say one of those GMs or one or more maybe putting out bad info or basically telling this bit, throwing it out there in a background check to the others. Guess what? If you're an ally, you may take that guy's word. But then it takes one thing we do know that it's been proven. John Lucas has personally obtained workouts. Those are interviews in the basketball, in the NBA world. If you get a workout, that's an interview. Because it's a basketball that you're trying to go and a job you're trying to get. He's gotten plenty of interviews for players who are aspiring. A lot of those guys didn't have no chance to make the Rockets team, but guess what? They probably went and played with their G League affiliate. That's an interview. You're getting a job. So whoever Jay Sims' relationship is, They don't have to go through the front door. They need to find a way to get in touch with John Lucas and ask them, because trust me, the Rockets know that you don't have a job. John Lucas might go. You have to go and touch him. Hey, find out what needs to be done. What's being said on that side of the fence to prevent them from bringing you in. You need some intel. What do you need to do? Hell, they might not like. I mean, you'd be surprised.
Oh wow, that's a good point. Hold on, Jimmy. Jimmy, this summer, you know it was some kind of conflict between him and Daniel House in the summer basketball circuit. Their team playing against this team. I think I'm right. You know, it was the Jonathan Simmons team versus the Daniel House team. So it was some. Then they went and merged and went to Dallas. So it was a little, yeah, it was a little, you know, because Joe Young was playing on one of those teams, if you remember, and Herb said NBA teams don't respect his agent, but if you can play, they don't care who your agent can be a baboon if you can play. You know, so and I'm just telling the truth. He can be he can't even talk. If you can play, you think they worry about Kobe Bryant's agent? Nah. You think they nah. If you can play, Jimmy, what's that? What's your saying about the cost of you know, the tolerance versus
well, yeah, the talent. If the talent is greater than the problem, then they will put up with you. But once the problem becomes greater than the talent, your ass is expendable. That's in life. That's relationship. That's on the team. All of that.
Oh,
that's how it goes.
So what you saying? When the cost of maintenance begin to exceed the quality of performance, it's time to trade it in. And you just not talking about cars. You talking about people too.
Yes.
Okay.
And once again, understand something, man. Basketball is a small world.
Yes.
This ain't got nothing to do with his agent. Yeah. Jonathan Simmons knows enough people he can go and put his words can get into the ears, or he can of John Lucas off the side, on the side of the freeway. Hell, meet him at the curb in 59. You can trust me, and find out on the low. Hey man, what I need to do, man?
What I need to do. Yeah.
That has nothing to do with his agent. That's
right.
What I said. That's the front door. It's different ways in the house and in the room. You want to go and get in the room, man? Give me a shot, man. I'm telling you, whatever you got to do. Now you might be totally right about the summer ball and Danielle. But guess what? You think those white owners and GMs is worth? We talking about Daniel House. Now if he got into it with if he got into it with 13, then they got a problem.
But guess what? What if 13? Hold on now. What if 13? Which 13 is an ally of Daniel House? Because remember, it was Roma, Daniel. 13 was want to play in that game that day. You remember he had to go over to the soccer stadium. So 13 is an ally of Daniel House. I don't know, Jimmy. I don't know. Remember now, you remember Daniel 13 was supposed to play on Daniel House a team that night when they played against each other. It was a lot of going back and forth. I don't know how, listen to me. I don't know the speculation of, but I remember the back and forth in the summer because I was at the Pro-Am, and I know it was a lot of going back and forth about it. So, but hey, there are more. Hey,
of course, I'm reading, and Herb says Coach Lucas may be the main person lobbying against bringing him in. That's a strong accusation. There's there's no facts to prove it. But guess what? That's why we say politics is involved in everything in life. So you got to find a way to navigate through the politics of it.
Right.
So that means you got to know, but act like you don't know, and go and get that damn job. You deal with that stuff later on.
Well, Jimmy,
go.
Jimmy, I don't even want to go there because I was about to say, I thought, wasn't that what Colin Kaepernick should have did? Go get the job, then act for crazy. Go get the job first, and then act crazy. You remember you said you should act a certain way to get the job. But Colin, you remember, that's all I'm saying.
Colin Kaepernick has a stance, and he's maintaining his stance for the most part. He made a different effort to do it on his own terms. You make your own decisions, and there are consequences and repercussions for everybody's decision. Okay. My thing is, and guess what? From the looks of it, it looks like Colin Kaepernick has done a great job being accountable for his actions. He's okay. Guess what? Nike has a brand new shoe coming out, and guess what? Colin Kaepernick is gonna get bread. Based on the rules,
Jimmy, he already got bread. He got a salary that we still don't know how much it is.
What they say? They say it went from anywhere between the range of 10 to 30.
Jimmy,
so
we still don't know.
I say the range.
Where the range? That's somebody's speculation. We still don't know. Because it was supposed to be closed.
It wasn't. Remember, the 10 number leaked out at first. Within 3 weeks of back in February when they signed the agreement with Colin Kaepernick in the NFL to settle the collusion case.
But I tell you what, you can believe what you believe. I'm just telling you, if the press is saying 1 to 20, that's a broad statement. So 1 to 20. I mean, come on. That's a hell of a 1 to 20 million. That's a whole lot of room. So all I'm saying, Colin Kaepernick ain't came out and said how much he done got, and the NFL ain't came out and said how much they done paid. You know how we can find out though?
They're not supposed to. It's going. I mean, that part there. Once again, the range has already came out. It's been set from 10 to 30. So that's somewhere in that range.
Who set the range? Who set the range?
Now
I just asked a question to you. You just stated that. Who made the range?
People that in the mainstream media I don't have the report for us which commentator, but guess what? It's been set. So that don't mean that means the range. Somebody said 10, somebody said 30. Okay. And guess what? Ain't nobody say, oh no, it's way more than that. They letting it go. So guess what? So right now, the range looks like that. It could be 20. It could be 29. It could be 12. But my thing is, based on last week, it sounds like another lawsuit is about to be implemented at the end of this season. So at the end of this season, we'll see in 2020, they're possibly going to file another lawsuit against the NFL.
For what? For collusion? So for double jeopardy, so collusion again?
You can file it again, but because based on the agreement, if we do a settlement, that means I'm agreeing to possibly up to half of the stuff you asking me for, and you agreeing up to a certain amount of the things I was initially asking of you. So one of those things in place would be obviously that whatever he was accusing the NFL of, they probably agreed to say, listen, whatever you're saying, these terms will not be released publicly, but we're not going to do this, and we're going to do whatever this and that. Okay. I'm quite sure his team got that in writing. Okay. But so they may be under the impression of trying to prove that some of those terms or conditions of the settlement may have been infringed upon or violated. But that's what it sounds like, because and you just tell about it right now. Everybody's playing chess in this thing, and this is a high stakes chess game.
But I didn't even. That's why I didn't even want to go there, because I knew we were gonna go. Well, right back to the NBA. What else we got going on in the NBA? Well, I got something unique. Oh, I got some. That James Harden talking about right now about it's gonna pop up on the screen shortly. He's gonna be talking about him being double teamed. So it should pop up on the screen later. What do you think about that? It should pop up there a little shortly, and we should be able to see it soon. Okay, it's all. What do you think about that?
I mean, I couldn't hear what he was saying. So
you didn't hear? He was just talking about. Oh, I didn't turn it up high enough. Well, he was just talking about. Because when they played the Clippers the other night, the unique thing about it, Paul George, supposed to be one of the best defenders in the league. Kawhi Leonard, one of the best defenders in the league. they had him double with them two and Patrick Beverly. So it was three of them. And all he was saying, he said, these guys supposed to be the best defenders, and you're sending three guys at me. And am I doing it like that? And you know what's so funny, Jimmy? I was watching. Boy, thank God, I watched a lot of high school basketball games and this weekend, and I didn't see. I saw a couple of guys being double teamed too. So it's. I mean, I get. And Chad said that's basketball. Yeah, and then I understand it's basketball. You got to do it to win. But James hadn't. I mean, Jimmy, I was telling you, he had a situation. He hit a shot on all three of them guys, and they knocked him on the floor. And I never forget, I saw him. He could have been called with taunting. He pointed at Paul George. He pointed over at Kawhi Leonard, and then he pointed at Patrick Beverly. I thought that was taunting, but the refs didn't call it. Something was going on in that game. So they lost about 3 in a row. So I guess James getting a little frustrated. I guess he pulled the what's his name? What's the kid name? Devin Booker, and said, "Wow, I'm getting double and triple team in a game. You're that good, James. That's all, baby. You're that good."
Well, I mean, come on, man. I mean, right now people are going to apply defenses and schemes towards containing you.
Oh yeah.
And guess what? That's part of the competition level. This ain't, you see, you got to deal with it. How you deal with it, get W's. But right now you lost the last 3 in a row, giving up over 135 points to the Mavericks on Sunday. I mean, yeah, that was, they had 130 with about 4 minutes to go on Sunday's game. But at the same time, speaking of those Rockets, once again, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Clint Capella. 22 rebounds. I mean, 20 rebounds in 4 of the last 5 games. And now he's surged up to like number 3 overall in rebounds in the NBA this season. Once again, keep your eye. He's earning his keep.
Oh yeah.
If everybody starts to earn their keep, then the team will be okay for the most part. But what? Let me give you the stat of the game.
Give me it back. Okay, the bench. Give me the bench.
My favorite category for the Houston Rockets.
The bench.
Is the bench.
Yes.
You know what that bench did yesterday?
9 points.
They combined for 11.
Oh, 11? Okay.
Points.
Okay.
And I keep telling you guys, they have to get something on that bench that's going to be able to balance things off. In case you don't understand, the substitution patterns in the NBA for the first and the third quarters and the beginning of the fourth quarter are pretty much commonplace. Everybody knows who's coming into the game for the most part. In most games, they're going to, at the 8-minute mark, there's going to be a sub in. There's going to be a sub before. People know, when James Harden is going out of the game. And you know when he's going to come back in the game. So y'all predictable. That's our respect. So that means as you take your star out or 2 or 3, the other team is taking their star out or 2 or 3. So that means now your second string has to play primarily, at least 60% of them are playing against 60% of their second string on the court for an 8-minute spurt, or at least a 6-minute spurt. So guess what? Our second string is not compatible. They're not sustaining or moving the needle.
What
the Houston Rockets.
Well, to some people who might not know, can I give them some names? Ben McLemore. How much you expect out of him? Austin Rivers was a -9 last night. He didn't play that well. He should be our number 1 option off the bench. Gary Clark. Oh, we ain't gonna even go there. Thabo Sefolosha. Isaiah Hartenstein. Tyson Chandler. Chris Clemens. Jimmy, we just don't have a great bench. So we trying to get blood out of a turnip. Ain't nothing in that bench, Jimmy. Jimmy. Ain't nothing in that bench.
Hey, but understand something. This comes, number 1, during the process of the game, coaching. Number 2, the administration for helping those guys, for signing those guys up.
Jim, how much can you coach? I just gave you some names. How much can you coach Gary Clark?
Yo, Hatter, do you understand what in that game yesterday, the Rockets and the Mavericks? In the fourth quarter, the Rockets were down by 20 points.
Understand.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're down by 20 plus points in the fourth quarter, let me give you the minute totals of the bench. You read them off to me. Read me the minute totals from the bench for the entire game. So watch this.
Gary Clark played 2 minutes.
Okay.
Cephalosha played 2 minutes. Hardenstein, 2 minutes. Chandler, 3 minutes. Clemens, 2 minutes. Austin Rivers, 23 minutes. And Ben McLemore, 21. Jimmy, we already know. What's his name? D'Antoni, he don't like to play his bench.
No, D'Antoni went 4 deep on the bench last year. Hatter.
No, but you didn't hear me. I'm talking about as a history. You know, man, but history. Go back and look at his history all the way back when Steve Nash and them used to play. He didn't play that many guys.
Hatter, understand what I'm saying. You're down 20 with 5 minutes, 6 minutes to go, right? You had listen. Only 2 guys off the bench played more than 3 minutes. Hell, we got 5, 6 minutes to go.
So you mean tell me? Guess what he said? I'm not playing them bums. That's what he said.
So why you got them bums? Whose fault did you got them if they deemed be bums?
Jim,
whose fault is that?
I don't know if you know this. In the collective bargaining agreement, you have to have a certain amount of people contracts. Okay? You have to have a certain amount of players on the team. Okay? If the Rockets had their druthers, they'll just have 7. But you got to have at least 14 players on your team. We just don't have from 5 on down, from us to 6, 7 on down. I just name you the names. We just don't have good players on the bench. So how can we expect some from them?
Okay, so tell me this. Once again, the Rockets, when you got a good team, which they have a good team, I'm just saying to you guys that over a period of time, you're not going to be able to sustain the level of the percentage of winning games as what they had jumped out in the first 10, 12, not without the help of the bench. Those guys are guys who make a name for themselves during the course in the progress of success. Think about it. A lot of guys on the bench that comes off the bench. Think of the Golden State Warriors when they were winning. A lot of those guys, what are they doing now? You didn't know those guys when they cleaned the bench. That's how a lot of those guys make their name.
They're not that good. All I'm trying to tell you, I understand I understand what your theory is, but the Rockets that lost Eric Gordon, the guy they paid $86 million to. They lost Gerald Green, who came off and was effective. He was on the couch in the driveway playing with his dog, but he became a staple on this team. Gary Clark, Isaiah Hardenstein, Chris Clemens, Jimmy, they are who they are. I don't care how many minutes you give them. I talked to some pros the other day, and they told me, they said, I know people be talking about James, and James ain't this. He said, man, you can give me all the shots y'all get James Harden. And I was good. And I still wouldn't score like he does. But people think of James, he just a dude to put up. I talked to 4 pros last night who were great pros in the league. They said, Robert, the thing that guy is doing is absolutely great. So all I'm saying is, Jimmy, you can get Chris Clemens, Isaiah Hardenstein, Gary Clark, Ben McLemore, all the minutes you want to give them. And they just still going to be just regular, Jimmy. They not going to be. I know what you're saying. But Robert, 11 points. Yes, I blame that on Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers was a -9. Austin Rivers not a scrub. But he playing like a scrub. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, you mentioned Chris Clemens. Okay, so what was the reason why he played 4 or 5 games ago? It was a 20-point spread in the game, right? So they put him in the game. So explain this to me. If he's such, understand something. One of the led the country in scoring in college. So we know he's helped out the Rockets. But in that 20-point spread against Minnesota, you know how many points he scored? He scored 19 points for the Rockets.
But you can't expect that of Jimmy. Jimmy, you live in some kind of chamber.
Game. Understand something.
You didn't know who Chris Clemens was. He led the nation to score. You ain't heard of him until the Rockets just picked him up in the summer.
We talked about him last year several times. They talked about him last year. And people knew who he was.
Jimmy, in this league, undrafted free agents don't usually have a chance.
Okay, but he scored 19.
No. Jimmy, in this league, if you got to depend on an undrafted free agent, you call this man's name out. I ain't call his name out. I told you he was some slaw. He's some a wet cardboard. But you talking about because he hit 19 in one game.
No, I'm saying in a 20-point spread.
Hey, Kevin Cato hit 20 points and had 20 rebounds one time. And they got a song out saying they want their money back. Jimmy, all I'm telling you, you can't expect 19 points out of Chris Clemens all the time. This was Chris Clemens.
I didn't do. We're not talking about the points. I'm talking about the minutes. If you're down or up by 20 in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes to go and you're playing a blowout game, understand.
Guess what?
Those guys are putting their subs in.
That's why Daryl Morey and D'Antoni get paid for what they do, and you get paid for what you do. Let them coach and let you just talk about it.
Dude, the best of coaches make blunders. The best of them make mistakes. That's the whole thing. We think just because a guy has a certain job, he's immune from making a bobo. People make bobos. Last night, let me put it like this. If you think I'm joking.
So the coach made a bobo. The coach made a bobo last night.
Huh?
You saying the coach made a bobo last night?
In that game, that was a bobo, an appropriation of minutes. That was a definite bobo. Let me explain to you. Put it like this, so you think how rare this was for the Rockets last night. In defeat, how rare this was. What just happened. You won't see another game this year where only two people off that bench is going to play more than 3 minutes. Remember, I'm telling you this right now. In the NBA, you remember this. So you guys, I watched the bench because I was a bench rider. So I know the analytics of a bench before they even come up with analytics.
Okay, what's your epiphany?
Another team that's only going to play two players off the bench more than 2 minutes.
Say it again, Jimmy. That's a broad ass statement. You save yourself a whole lot of wiggle room. Give it to me plain. You saying no other team the rest of this year is not going to do what?
Is not going to play only but two players more than 2 minutes in a game off the bench. No team is going to play.
I don't understand that. I don't understand the statement.
Once again, I say it slow for you then.
Yes, say it slow.
There won't be a game this season where there will be only two guys that come off the bench that's going to log more than 2 minutes. That means those guys, remember, one guy played 23 minutes, one guy played 21 minutes. Nobody else played for the Rockets played more than 3 minutes. And that 3 was rounded off because they came in the game at the same time. I saw when they came in and rounded off.
They played more. I'm just trying to see your statement is. I know what you're saying. That's what you. I don't understand your statement.
There won't be a game, once again. In the NBA, the rest of the season, every game combined, you're not going to see a team this year that's only going to play only two guys off the bench more than 2 minutes. That's hard. That ain't hard to
So if they bring two guys off the bench, they gonna play them more than 2 minutes. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Guess what, Jimmy?
You understand it.
No. Let me tell you something.
You realize what it is now. You trying to leave it alone. You understand?
No, Jimmy. I'm not gonna stay there. I'm not gonna stay in that rabbit hole with you. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
You understand? Real simple.
You know what? You know what, though?
In other words, every team this year and every other game in the NBA, they're going to be 3 guys. They're going to be at least 3 guys play more than 3 minutes. That's what I'm saying, more than 2 minutes. That's all I'm saying. And they're going to be at least 3. And every game that's going to be played, that's going to play more.
I'm not going to go and look at that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to go look at that stat. Like you said, you're a stat guy. Let me tell you something. Just when you think sense is coming, somebody will come along and show you that it's very rare. At least in this case. Me, I don't have a lot of sense, Jimmy. You know why? Because I'm using it. I'm using all my sense up. I ain't got enough of it. So I ain't got time to be going and looking at a stat sheet in an NBA game and say if 2 people, more than 2 people, I still don't even understand it.
Yeah, you heard it. More than 2.
If more than 2 people come off the bench.
Like this. I'm going to make it easy for you. If more than 2, play more than 2. So that's the thing. If more than 2 players play more than 2 minutes, understand that. That will happen in every game. It just happened with the Rockets because more than 2 did not play more than 2. That's what I'm saying.
So if they play, they're going to play more than 2 minutes.
You damn right. You damn right. Every game.
Okay.
We'll have at least 3 guys that's going to play more than that.
Okay. I'm just watching it. I'm looking at the Washington Wizards bench. So you got me here. Robinson came off the bench. He played 1 minute. Bunya came off the bench. He played 1 minute. Schofield came off the bench. He played 1 minute. That's 3 guys that came off the bench. Go look at the Washington Wizards bench right now.
Haller, you really don't understand. Haller, you really don't understand. That ain't what I just said.
I told you I didn't understand what you said.
Okay, take the vice versa of that then. What you just said, flip it. How many of them played more than that off the bench? That's what I'm saying. How many of those in that game you're talking about played more than that? You told me the one that only played the less minutes. How many played the most minutes off the bench? So my argument is, my stance is, there's going to be at least more than 2 players that's going to play more minutes than what you just said. That's what I'm saying. So how many off the bench played more minutes than that?
4 off the bench.
There you go. I say it's going to be, think what I just said. They're going to be at
least. I told you I didn't understand that what the hell you was talking about. And guess what?
So now you get
it.
No,
I don't understand. Guess what? I told you I'm using all my sense. I'm using up all my sense right now. I'm gonna leave that alone. Because I'm not gonna go through no thing. I don't have that much time. I'll put it like that. I ain't got that much time. What's the next topic?
You know, how many on that other team on that box score? How many off the bench on the other team? See, because that's 4 on that. What I'm trying to tell you. Dude, that's rare to just utilize 2 guys off your bench like that. In the NBA, in a 20-point loss, that's very rare. Very rare. So in that Washington game, who Washington playing against? Who Washington played against?
Sacramento Kings.
On Sacramento's bench, who played the most minutes off the bench?
Bogdanovic. He played.
How many minutes he played?
28.
Okay, that's 1. Who next played the most minutes off the bench? The next guy.
Somebody James. Somebody last name James.
How many minutes he played?
16.
That's nothing.
Okay, so that's 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So
next up. So we got one more. If they got one more that played more than 3 minutes, that validates my thing. More than 2 minutes. Who's the next guy?
Deadman played 12 minutes.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So that validates it.
So what does it validate? I still don't get it.
That means they're utilizing the bench. They didn't utilize the bench at all in a 20-point.
They played 4 people off the bench.
That's it. That's very rare. That's about as rare as it gets. That's rare. That's as rare as when I told you that the kid from Los Angeles Lakers was not going to. You're not going to see another 40-point, 20-rebound game in 3 quarters. That's rare. That's very rare in the NBA for a guy to play.
So the Rockets played 2, 4, 6, 7 people off the bench.
I ain't talking about playing. I say the minutes. Remember I said less than.
Dude, I promise you. I got some. Hold
on.
No, Jimmy.
The only thing that count is the minutes per game. We talking about minutes right now.
Jimmy,
the application of
listen to me right now.
when the Rockets put those guys in the game, that was 4 of those guys came at the same time. I watched the end of the game yesterday.
Read my lips.
Man,
I'm done with this. I don't understand it. I don't understand that stat. I tried. I just can't get. Maybe I got to go study that a little bit more. As of right, my crash course, my crash course wasn't good. I'm not good at that one. I don't good at that one. I don't see what they got to do anything with basketball. And I've been playing this game a long time. I just don't see it. Okay, but it's okay. You see it. Listen, I'm giving you. You win that one. Listen, beat my lips. You win that one because I still don't understand.
It'll soak in. It'll soak in. Speaking of NBA, we talked about Luka a while ago. So how about Luka? He's approaching his 90th game. And he has scored more points than Kobe. He has more rebounds than your guy, Kevin Garnett. And he has more assists than LeBron James through 88 games. The NBA finally has what they've been grieving for, and that is another white guy, a white guard to go and anoint. Because, we hadn't had one, a guard since what? Since who's it been? Since Steve Nash? Has it been one since then? A guard? Am I missing something? I mean, for real, who's been there?
Steve Nash was the last one I remember.
Steve Nash was the last anointed one. He was 2-time MVP. He earned his old-fashioned way. But, he wasn't American grown. He's from Canada. But still.
This guy here from... No. This what I want to know. How does America feel? All you workout gurus and all you workout guys that got the 2 best players in the NBA right now are foreigners. The Greek Freak, the reigning MVP, the Rookie of the Year, Luka Doncic. Those two guys are tearing up the league. How y'all feel about that? How you feel?
So name the guys again.
Greek Freak, okay? The reigning MVP of the whole league. Luka Doncic, the Rookie of the Year, reigning Rookie of the Year. And we talking about him on the show today because I gave y'all some great numbers. His last 4 games were phenomenal. You know what? I might have to put them on the screen. They were so phenomenal. And it's unbelievable. And I just want to know how do how do y'all feel? You basketball purists. This is America's sport. This is America's game. This is James Naismith invented this. Explain. Joel Embiid. We ain't one no, but he's one of the top players. Tell me the foreign phenomena that's going on in the United States. We can't get behind a good player in our own city. So now we understand why them guys overseas can come over here and just play. That guy was game ready. And let me tell you something. I was just busy yesterday. And I just not a fan of basketball. I got to like players. It's got to be a certain player. It's got to be a reason for me to get out the house because I got all the games on TV. And to go all the way down there and park and go and talk to everybody the whole time. I went with my girl the other day. She said, you talk to everybody in the place. You never sit down and talk. I like to watch games at home because when I'm in the arena. And Jimmy, that Luka Doncic was worth. I taped it. I got it in that tape. As soon as I get a chance, I want to go back and watch him. He's doing something that, Herb, explain to me. Explain to me how this guy got so good, so young, so quickly. Somebody just explaining that. Fob and all the people. He don't pass that. Jimmy, do you remember You remember y'all, even you, man. They just gave him the thing early in the season. Trae Young came on at the end of the season. We could have gave it to Trae Young. Dude.
Well, that's part of the blackness in me rooting for the black guy.
Okay,
so
okay, I got you.
And most guys ain't in their jobs, they won't confess that. So that means, is it more black writers or white writers?
Okay.
So that means, so you
weren't looking at his game, you were looking at his name.
Most of those guys that are white writers were rooting for the guy that looked like them.
But you didn't watch him play that much last year, did you?
No. Dallas Mavericks was not in prime time in the situation that you went out of your way.
I asked you didn't watch him that much last year, did you?
I didn't watch Trae Young that much last year. That's what I'm saying to you. Okay. So that means they don't schedule those guys on regular TV. Right. I don't have no damn NBA package. I don't watch that much basketball. Okay. If you ain't on TNT or ESPN, I ain't watching you. Okay. I'm at a high school game while those guys are playing. Okay. And on Sundays, I'm watching. I'm either relaxing, working, and casually maybe letting a football game watch me.
So you didn't even watch highlights of these two guys last year.
You watch them. Of course. Remember, they both had nights on every other night. One or the other did something to make the news reel. So that means you watch them or you read what they done. So it wasn't like, and the thing was, at the halfway mark, he had been anointed. See, once you become anointed, then that means the coalition has put you in a different spell. You're waterproof. So they had already anointed this young man. And that's all I was saying.
But he put in work though, Jimmy. He put in work.
Okay, but how do you, I'm saying, understand something.
How you feel being Atlanta? No, how you feel being Atlanta? Forget the black and white stuff. Because Atlanta had that pick. Atlanta could have drafted him instead of.
But you know what? It's not the known that they, remember now, he's playing with Porzingis. When no international guys.
We're playing with him last year, Jim.
No, last year he got numbers. They're winning now. That's the difference. Right. That's the main thing. They're winning right now. They are legitimate. Dallas Mavericks are legitimate playoff contender. That's what's the difference right now. Otherwise, it'll be the same old type of stuff. Guys scoring all the points, producing, and you're not winning.
Let's go to Facebook feed right quick. Melvin Dude said something. He said, iron sharpen iron. We're talking about EYBL and the circuit. Overseas start playing these guys professionally at 13 years. Not all of them, the ones that they feel is good enough to. Luka has been killing since 16. You're right. I've been hearing about the kid a long time, but I just thought they was going. Because guess what, Jimmy? They were talking about Rubio like that. I don't know if you remember, they was talking about Rubio like that a long time ago. And Herb said in Europe, these kids have an opportunity to be in the gym and make the most of it. I'll never forget learning the story about Dirk Nowitzki and when his dad, over there, Jimmy, he in the gym 6 hours a day. He don't have to go to school. I don't know what schooling they was getting. I guess they was getting homeschools. But after 2 hours, these guys going on and putting some ice on over here, putting some ice up and playing Fortnite. But but let me tell you something, Jimmy. I am not saying American basketball is going down. I'm just looking at these two examples of foreign players. That young kid, Greek Freak. You got to, if anybody get a chance, Jimmy, I want you to go find this story called Finding Giannis. It's on YouTube. Finding Giannis, and see how he started off. Him and his brother had the Jimmy, like if he played, he had the shoes. Then if his brother's down to play, he had to get his shoes to his brother. They had to change sneakers, Jimmy, in order for both of them to play. They didn't have but one pair of sneakers between them. And this guy came over here. That's why he's so humble over here. And he came over here and he turned the league. He's the MVP of our league. And now we got another young guy that's right now, Luka Doncic from Slovenia. I told y'all I'm about to go over Slovenia. And I told y'all that a couple of weeks ago. And now he done came in and beat my Rockets. Oh, he one of my nephews. Y'all can talk about me all they want to. Yes, I got an interracial. I got a Slovenian nephew now. Luka Doncic. Yes, Jimmy, You got to pay the cost to be the boss. He done paid the cost. So, Jimmy.
Well, and that's indeed, of course, Dallas Mavericks 11-5 on the season, one game ahead of the Houston Rockets. Of course, the Rockets were 11-3 just 4 games ago, and they've lost 3 in a row. Rockets will be back in action on Wednesday when they will host the Miami Heat. Justice Winslow makes his return home, and that is a trap game because this ain't the Miami Heat of yesteryear. This Miami Heat team is young and they're winning. That's a difference.
What's their record, Jim?
Their record right now is 11-4.
Yeah, they win.
They're young and they win. They might have the youngest starting lineup in the league.
Guess what I got on the tube? Xavier Wheeler is bringing the ball up, Jimmy. And Maui at the Maui invitation, it's popped up on my screen. I got to shout out to my young. Thank you, Herb. Herb, you made me click it on. Xavier Wheeler is, and guess what? And I think he just took somebody to the hole and dropped them off. But back to our regular schedule program. Yeah.
Well, of course.
Xavier, I'm talking about Xavier.
Wheeler's over at Georgia, and one of the things we was looking at, I think every week, every Tuesday, Doug Jones he published a list of the freshmen from Greater Houston area that are on Division I rosters and their stats. That's posted every Tuesday in the VIP news of rcsports.com. Guys, if you hadn't been in the VIP news, guess what? There's a lot of intel in there, basically for one metropolitan area. You're not getting that type of info nowhere in the country. Nobody's going to take out the time. Because first of all, think about if it was easy, everybody who has a website or a blog would keep it updated that much. That will show you guys just how difficult it is for the task to consistently provide fresh intel for you to read. So I'm looking at last week's stats from the freshmen around the country. And remember, I'm just going to acknowledge the ones who are averaging double-digit minutes because that's the most important.
So you ain't going to wait till tomorrow? Or you going to go and do it now?
We can wait till tomorrow. That way the list will be fresh.
Yeah, because we want to give them. Yeah, we want to give them they do.
That'll come tomorrow. We're
going to give them guys they do, man. And Doug could give a chance. Yeah, get Doug and Doug can add this game to it.
Yeah, because Xavier last week he was having 23 minutes a game.
Yeah.
At Georgia, coming off the bench.
Boy can play.
He's finishing great. So that mean he picked the right
school.
Talk about that and a lot on tomorrow. That'll be one of the topics that we go in with tomorrow. Speaking of basketball, college basketball, the brand new Associated Press poll was released.
Yeah.
And of course Duke, and there's something significant about this week's poll. Duke is at number 1, followed by Louisville, Michigan State, Kansas, Maryland, and North Carolina. And Virginia, Gonzaga, and Kentucky and Ohio State rounds out the top 10. Right? Texas Tech and Baylor are the only 2 schools from the great state of Texas who are in the top 25. Texas Tech at number 12. Baylor is at number 19. Baylor picked up a good win over the weekend to win the tournament they was in. They beat. And so, but here's what I'm thinking the significance of this week's poll. This is fun. Duke, I say it again, Duke, Louisville, Michigan State, Kansas, Maryland, North Carolina. Those are the top 6 teams in this week's poll. What do they all have in common? They've all been either selfly admitted for the NCAA or underwent cheating allegations over the past 4 or 5 years. All of us. And just think about it. So think about how.
So if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Duke if you missed it last week, the Duke basketball program, Coach K, they reported a minor violation. because Coach K, mind you, guess what? Cheating is cheating. You know, so so Louisville, remember, the coach lost his job. Michigan State, they've been all over the news for the program and the athletic director. Kansas, I'm not going to even talk about Kansas. You guys know what they've done. Maryland, one of the coaches remember that staff from Maryland was at Texas A&M, and pretty much the bulk of that staff, 3 of them went over and took the Maryland job. One of them resigned last year as a result, allegedly, of some cheating that was going on. Right? North Carolina. The African American studies classes and all that. So think about how it's embraced.
What about Oregon? What about Oregon? They 11?
I'd say the top 6.
Okay.
I didn't nitpick the whole list. I'm saying those are the top 6 teams in the list, on the rankings.
Can I make a statement right quick, Jimmy? Since we're on college basketball. It might not be y'all, Dave, but to me, it's Memphis Tigers today, y'all. It's Memphis Tiger Day today, Jimmy. My Memphis Tiger football team is 10-1, and my Memphis Tigers basketball program had a tough win against Ole Miss, and you say it ain't a good win, it's not that great of a win, but we had 1 day and 2 sellouts. Jimmy, check this out, Jimmy. The Memphis basketball team, the college team, played at 12 o'clock that day, right? Sellout, 18,811, 211 in the gym. 7 o'clock that night, guess who right across the street in the hotel gonna play at 7 at night? The Lakers and the Grizzlies. Guess what, Jimmy? Sell out again. Jimmy, go you know you with all your records, and I mean you see because you like this. Tell me the last time a college program sell out a day venue, put all them guys out, put a new flow down, the pro game come in, and they sell out the pro game. Got a question for you. When was the last time that happened? And LeBron James was complaining on Twitter, Jimmy. Get what he said. Man, they're having a concert outside at 10:30 in the morning. Dude, the game was at 12. That's the pep rally before the game. He was mad. But the hotel is right directly across the street from the arena. When does that happen? I mean, I just want to know, Jimmy, you might have some, you always research. And hold up, it might be in this magazine somewhere, that information. When does that happen, Jimmy?
That's a good book right there. That's a good book right there.
I know you don't like to hear it coming from Memphis, man. I understand it. I ain't mad at you, dude. I do. I understand. But you know what I do? You know, I back your home team. Even your alma mater, when you don't back them, they got me to back them. Houston Cougars. I got 2 Houston Cougars shirts over here for you that you ain't even picked up. And you from Houston. But if I find somebody else who had double X, and if they get to me before you get to me, I'm going to give them to them.
You know my motto.
They got to be winning. Okay.
If they win, they get back in the top 20, I'm winning. Okay. And I always been there. I ain't never changed. That's just how it is.
So you can cheer for Memphis now, right?
Huh?
You can cheer for Memphis now. Win the top 20.
No, you from out of state. You got to get.
So I forgot. Okay, that's right. You international known, but you locally accepted. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I'm riding with Duke right now. They number 1. I'm riding with the champ.
Wow, I ain't never riding with Duke. You can have them.
What do you mean?
I just never. I'm not gonna ride with Duke.
Now understand. How many Texas guys that have been to that program in the last 8 years? You know, I mean, we've had at Duke, we've had about a half dozen players from out of Texas that played there. So that means, you know, one of those things. I'm not an avid fan of the program.
Yeah,
they're winning. I root for the story. But in this situation,
Memphis is a great story. You can root for it. I know. And you wait a minute.
Right now, Memphis is not the story right now. The story of Memphis, the college, university of. The story of Memphis will be the story of redemption after January the 12th. And that question, when you get to March Madness, because they're going to
wait. That's for
March
you.
Madness, that would be the time.
I like small victories. Let me tell you something. Jimmy, you see what you don't understand, Coach, you don't understand. We beat Ole Miss in football this year. That ain't how. We were the little sisters because we are what? In the little old AAC. Ole Miss, what's the name of that conference they in? Somebody put it on the Facebook feed for me. What's the name of that conference they in? It's called SEC. Isn't that a Power 5 conference? I don't care how good your team is. Isn't that a Power 5 conference?
How do you making this thing? It's the first time that an SEC team has lost to a ranked team. Ain't Memphis ranked in the country?
No. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about how I can be proud of my football team is 10-1.
If you're ranked in the country. All teams are considered, and you're ranked ahead of them. They're not even ranked at all. They're next to last.
What the hell they doing in the SEC then?
No matter what, somebody got to come in last every year. What the hell East Carolina doing in the American Conference? I mean, yeah, somebody got to be the doormat.
Well, y'all always have excuses.
Well, hold on. I got one better than that. What the hell is Alabama A&M doing in the SWAC? And so for that now.
Hey, man, don't you do my boy like that. And the Western, I'm going to pray for him. But, Jimmy, let me tell you something. I know we got some, but, Jimmy, don't forget, Jimmy, I saw you like it. You didn't come. You know, that's what I don't like about you, man. I got a pet peeve. I sit in and give you information months, year after year, and months after month. You go on here, CNN, and like when they say something about it, but I've been giving you this information. I've been hand feeding you this, and you didn't text me not one time. Say, Hatter, you didn't forward this to my Hatter. Man, you might have been on to something about that LVMH buying Tiffany. And I've been talking about, I know you was thinking about me when you liked it. Because when you know you don't like everything, when you like it, it meant something. You didn't say, why didn't you text me and say, Hatter? Huh?
The news, this wasn't breaking news. The news was that they just cleared one of the final hurdles for the deal to go through. So that's what.
Why did you call me though? Why did you text me and say, Hatter, wow, you ain't lying?
No, that wasn't Hatter. It was already out there. When you say it was already out there.
No. Not the Tiffany. I'm not talking about the Tiffany deal. I'm talking about a lot of people didn't even know who Bernard Arnault is. They didn't. I was telling you about him a year ago. And now, hold up, the reason I say that, because guess what, Jimmy?
Here in week 12.
I go click every time I watch. Y'all do me a favor. Go and watch the NFL players and the NBA players and the entertainers. Jimmy, I went on Instagram yesterday. And I said, and you know the hashtag NFL players fashion. 99% of the African American players, their luggage was Louis Vuitton. 99% of them. So no. Huh? Say it again.
We talked about that last week.
I understand, but this same company has now put themselves in a position where they can buy another luxury brand called Tiffany. And that's the point I was trying to make. Louis Vuitton, y'all, if you hadn't looked at the news, has bought Tiffany and Company for $16 billion. So guess what? We helped put them in position. They're like, oh yeah, I got some Louis Vuitton stuff, I did. But guess what? When I find out I'm doing all this, I ain't bought nothing since. I'm just saying. We put Louis Vuitton in a position to buy Tiffany because of our spending power. When not everybody, not the regular people now. This is our luxury brand that our athletes and entertainers are fueling this brand. And think about it. If they got the luggage for them, he done bought something for his mama, his girlfriend, his baby mama, and everybody else. So that's all I'm saying. You know, I was just saying it was odd that you didn't text me and say, Hatter, okay. But that's all right. I don't expect that. But what we got next? Well, if we got football, we're gonna end it on the football.
Where the pick said, I can't find the picks. You have the results.
I don't have it. I mean, I get the results. And Jimmy, I just put on the screen those guys. I'll just put it what they did on the screen. The wealthiest billionaires and Bernard Arnault. Matter of fact, when this deal go through with Tiffany, he probably gonna upseat Bill Gates, Jimmy. So that's all. I mean, sometimes we got to be aware. And we got to be aware of some stuff like this. Let's go spend stuff at our events. Let's go spend stuff at our stores. Let's go spend stuff so one of our guys can be on that list. Because I don't mind him being on the list. I'd love for one of our guys to be a guy that looked like me to be on that list. Jay-Z said, what he said, you know, the only good thing about a one billionaire is two, especially if you have the hue as you. So now let's get back to what you were saying, Jim.
And so don't have, of course, looking for the.
You don't have the. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
It's not in my desk.
Yeah,
okay. Reach. It's not in the folder. So I guess we have to go over those. I have them, but they're not here. They're not thrown away, and so I was gonna retrieve them. We have to go to those numbers. See who won yesterday. I think I beat your head in on yesterday. I was thinking about some of those.
Yeah.
Now also. Melvin Dew just reminded us over the weekend, high school football action took place around the area. And indeed, Katy survived a scare from Cy-Fair to advance. North Shore beat the stuffings out of, I think it was Dawson High School. And they would play Friday, 4 p.m. at the NRG Arena. Friday at 4 p.m. is that game. And one thing I noticed about that, at my first point, I haven't checked my traps, but normally the teams will either agree, the athletic directors, via the coaches, they would be the spokesman for the coaches. The teams will either agree on the time, they would agree on the day. But in this case, think about it. This game is Friday. This game is at 4 p.m., not at 7 p.m. At 4 p.m., not at 8 p.m. So who do you think lost the coin flip between North Shore and Katy? Because somebody had to want to play at 4 o'clock on a Friday. Think about it. A lot of parents get off work at 5 o'clock. A lot of parents don't have the luxury to say, you know, I'm getting off, I'm clocking out early. You know, some will because it's a special occasion. If your son plays football, the boss should have enough leniency and enough to go and let the worker get off an extra hour or two early on that Friday. But traffic, that means traffic shouldn't be that hot because there's no school. That's the good thing about it on Friday. But however, Friday at 4 o'clock, I guarantee you that Katy, I guarantee that North Shore didn't want that time slot. I'm curious to see. I'm gonna check over with them this evening and see who won and who lost the coin flip. But remember, a year ago, the Chop Shop was in the building at the NRG Arena when North Shore and Katy, and that was quite a game. North Shore pulled it off at the end en route to going and winning that miraculous state championship with a last-second Hail Mary over Duncanville. The story would be for North Shore and Duncanville to meet again. However, the star wide receiver for North Shore, Shadrack Banks, I learned over the weekend, he's hurt again.
No!
He's out. So thanks that news came courtesy of Pat Truesdale and the Bayou City Preps. Ran into him over the weekend. He let me know that Shadrack Banks is indeed out. Odyssey, if you're watching, you can definitely confirm if he's out for the season or not, or just out for a couple of games. That's very, very huge because now, remember, this young man did not play when Katy beat North Shore the first time. So it was presumed that once he comes back, Katie going to deal with Shadrack Banks. Well, guess what? There's no Shadrack Banks.
No Shadrack.
I don't feel good, and I don't feel the same degree of smack and of being the hunter that North Shore had a year ago. I don't, that atmosphere is not really out there right now. So I don't know, maybe it's just me. Do you guys feel it? Katie is just rolling along. North Shore's been rolling along since, now, this is put up or shut up. This is put up or shut up in regard to North Shore and Katie. Once again, it's Friday, 4 p.m. Other game, Atascocita beat Dickinson. So Atascocita advances. Humble even won, I think, that football game. That's two Humble high school teams in the regionals.
Wow.
They're rolling.
What they doing out there in Humble?
They playing a bunch of football. I can tell you that.
It's a lot of good, but they playing good. Atascocita won. They playing basketball too. That's what I'm saying. What they doing out there? What's the water in the water out there?
Well, think about it. Summer Creek is they cut into the attendance zone of Atascocita when they opened Summer Creek up. Atascocita cut into Humble, and Summer Creek came and absorbed the overflow from both of the schools, primarily Atascocita. And Summer Creek, remember, the girls went to state last year in basketball. Mm-hmm. The boys are one of the contenders this year to go. Mm-hmm. It's plenty of talent. I tell you about Atascocita, that area is the new Pearland. Remember when people first moved to Pearland, how Pearland would go every year? They're the new Pearland. They diversified that community, so to speak. We did. And next thing you know, some other kids who went through the rigors of the Little League youth football programs, they started getting bumped out of their positions because the talent started to come. That's what's happening out there. A lot of talent. And of course, we say everyone is out on Friday. We go to some of the comments. Oh, Odyssey broke that news 2 weeks ago. Okay, sorry about that, Corey. There you go. Now, about the news about Banks being out. Now, the question is he out for the year or is he out just for a couple of games? That's what I want to know. The question I'm asking about Shaq.
What Pat didn't tell you that, Jimmy?
I didn't ask if he was out because he said he was out. I want to say that I heard him imply that he was gone for the year. Something about that leg, that same leg, he injured it. And they shouldn't have played him in the game that he played in. One of those people always know every time somebody get hurt, you read the book backwards to that magnitude. But shout out to Nissaville and those Humble Wildcats, third round of the football playoff. Just mentioned that a while ago. And all you guys out there, thanks to all of you for the support. If I hadn't done so and took out the time, the magazine, we have a list. We have a list of all of the locations around Greater Houston posted on the front of rcssports.com. Go to rcssports.com and you can see where you can pick up your copy of the magazine. One of the things that I can definitely explain, I'll show you guys, this college section, second to none. If you're watching a collegiate basketball game, it has a list of every player from the state of Texas that's on the Division I basketball roster, alphabetical order by the conference and by the college. You can see what city they're from, their jersey number, what they're classified as, whatnot. Also, my most important part of the magazine is the scholarship section. We call it free money. You don't have to be a basketball player to get some of this. We have a list of about 25 scholarships that you can go and look up. And you look up the information, the website, the phone number, everything on these scholarships, guys. And you can apply for your loved ones. Get this money, free money. This is what I call the most important part. Here's the thing. If I meet a parent of a student, not necessarily a student athlete, but a student, and I show you this section about the free money, and you still not willing to pay $5 to get just a buffet of free money opportunities, then guess what? I ain't nothing for us to talk about. This is something information was typed to help you guys to be able to help your kids. Not to mention the district schedules that comes up. This stuff, the magazine guys.
Jimmy, great schedule. But speaking of what, Jimmy, we didn't talk about Kendrick Davis being cleared.
Oh man, hey man, how about Kendrick Davis from Sam Houston High School, class of 2017 and 18, got cleared over the weekend and played with SMU. Played and showed off 19 points.
What?
In debut. 19 points. I think he had, I want to say 6 or 8 rebounds, 3 or 4 assists, only 1 turnover in his stat line. Kendrick Davis played his first game, showed up and showed out for SMU. Now they are waiting the verdict on Darius McNeil. Will they allow him to play, the former Westfield High School star? Remember, he was on that Westfield High School team, had that won the Texas Invitational. I mentioned at the top of the show. They won it a few years back.
Yeah.
Darius McNeil was on that team when Westfield won it. So that's pretty much, man, shout out and keep our eyes on Kendrick Davis. Don't forget tomorrow we'll give you guys a lot of the update on how the many college freshmen are faring around the country and a lot more.
And Jim, I got something else I want to talk about. What about Russell Westbrook brother being escorted out of the arena? We might talk about that. That's something we need. Hey man, hey, when them guys get a seat, long time ago, y'all, family didn't sit on the court because them seats were too high. Now these dudes make so much money, families can sit there and they he got into it with Montrezl Harrell. It could have got, no arrest, but they got into it a little bit. But I just wanted to let you know that. That's all.
Yeah, man. So definitely appreciate that and a lot more. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you share today's show to your timelines or with your friends.
I'm going to do it now.
Share the show. That's very important. And also, I'm looking at this clock, guys, and guess what? It is time.
Oh, yes.
So y'all have to do this thing and slide down Dino's back. Hey, man, it's time to go and create the real happy hour. My cup kind of empty. I got my red today. It's time to go fill it. I'm going to allow my cup to run it over in just a few minutes. I'm going to see you guys on 22 hours. Thanks on behalf of the Hatter. This is the hat. It's time to twist this thing backwards and get it popping. See you guys on tomorrow. Chop, chop.
Hold on.